Hi, everybody. This morning I had a random thought pop into my head, and whilst it's not a new concept, the logic just suddenly hit me as an aha moment. And that thought was we can improve our health and healing ability through controlling or conquering our fear. When we're dealing with fear of any kind, the body hits pause on anything that isn't essential to surviving the next few minutes. And obviously, if that fear goes on for hours or days or weeks, that effect on the body is exacerbated. So I thought, well, let me look up and see what exactly is impacted when we're facing a fear. I'm not a doctor, but I have studied natural health quite a bit because that's a personal interest of mine. And so I hit the search button and I got information that I thought was really interesting. It affects digestion, immunity, complex thought, and physical repair. I'm thinking, those are quite important when you're dealing with fear or stress, etc. So to just go into these a little bit more, what typically gets dialed down, and note everybody is different, every situation is different, so you can't predict exactly how you personally will respond, but what typically gets dialed down is firstly digestion. Blood flow is diverted away from the stomach and intestines to the muscles and brain. So this means that your body is not necessarily getting the appropriate nutrition that it needs. You may be eating healthily, you may be taking supplements, medication, etc. But if you're stressed and dealing with a fear response, your body is not going to take in the nutrition and digest it appropriately because it's sending blood elsewhere to deal with the stress. Secondly, the immune system. The body suppresses the immune system to conserve energy and resources. So what that means is you're probably going to be more susceptible to germs, flus, colds, anything else that's going around. And you're not going to have the resources to stay well as you deal with this stress. The other thing is prefrontal cortex, higher thinking. So we're not thinking as clearly, we're not handling complex reasoning as well as we should. Our decision making is impaired and our instinctive responses are going to be flawed. And then long-term repair and growth. We need cellular repair and tissue growth, etc. If we are working out at gym, we could injure ourselves more easily because our body is sending the blood elsewhere rather than to tissue repair. And so there is just lots of impact where we actually need that cellular repair and tissue growth for our day-to-day well-being. So I'm thinking, well, we really need to focus on dealing with the fear response so that we can have optimum health and capability when we are facing challenging situations. So how can we deal with the fear response? How can we dial it back and be in control rather than the fear controlling us? And journaling seems to cover so many things, but really using our journal for active thinking and active processing can help us to dial back the fear. So 3 key mentors that have taught me how to manage fear, and I'm going to go into this a little bit with some action points at the end of this video, but 3 mentors that have taught me how to manage fear are ones that I want to share with you today. The first is Dr. John DeMartini. Some of my close friends know that I talk about him, but his book, The Gratitude Effect, had a dramatic change in my life, and I'm sure I'm going to mention it at other times and in other videos as well, because there's lots of different principles that I learned through this book. But what I wanted to go into today is that each negative has an equal positive. So even though you've got a challenge or a stressor that you're dealing with your life, there will be at least one and probably more positive things that you can get as a result of this challenge in your life. It could be someone new that you get to meet that you wouldn't have otherwise met. It could be something new that you learn. It could be something new that you learn about yourself. There could be a whole host of things, but I'll leave that to you and the action points when we get to work out for yourselves. The second mentor is Tim Ferriss. I'm sure most of you have heard about Tim Ferriss. He's got a podcast that I listen to, and he interviews some of the most successful people in the world. And one of the things that he spoke on in his TED Talk is why you should define your fears instead of your goals. And I'll have a link to that talk at the bottom of this video. But he has a fear setting exercise that he recommends, and it teaches you how to break down your fears to where you can create manageable steps to work through them, or totally eradicate them and just move forward with what you want to move forward on. And then the third mentor is my father. He's unfortunately no longer with us, and this lesson I actually learned after he passed when we were going through some of his papers, and I realized that he used a combination of prayer and journaling, and the combination helps you lay out the miracles you need in your life and turn fears into visions of the positive outcome that you want. And we all know that vision boards and envisioning solutions or what we want to manifest in our lives are huge tools for success. And seeing this in his papers and then learning how to master this myself was a huge element in my life and how I've been able to go about things and work through challenges. So now we get to the action section of this video, because watching a video is nothing without action if we can't take some positive thing into our lives. So some actions that you can take today to address a fear or a worry or a stress or a challenge that you may have today. 1, pull out your journal, write down at least one positive from your current challenge. What is that one positive or more that you can take from your current challenge? The other thing that you can do in your journal is make 3 lists. One list, you can make a list of your worries. And then once you've created that list, cross out anything that is out of your control. We're not going to expend time or energy on anything that you can't control. It is there. There's nothing you can do to change it. So rather focus on what you can control. So each of the others that you haven't crossed out, write down at least one thing that you could do to reduce your worry around it, your stress around it, or reduce it or eradicate it. The second list that you could possibly consider doing is, what is a list of things that you're currently allowing yourself to focus on? What is taking up more of your mind and your thoughts, and where are you letting your mind slide to all the time? And then write about what you want to keep from that list and what you want to change. Sometimes we don't realize just how much time and energy we are putting into some focus areas. And when we start listing them, we can make a conscious choice of which ones we want to keep and which ones we want to let go of. And then the other one is a positive adventure. I want you to make a list of what you're enjoying. What is bringing you joy? What is making you smile? What is making you relax? What is helping you to reset, to become more centered? Make a list of those things and then make a note of what you would like to do more of and how you can build them more into your day. So your journal is where you can really be honest, real, and true with yourself. And this is why I've suggested you do these exercises in your journal. You can be authentic and you can know that it's for you and your eyes only. And so you can really get down to the nitty-gritty and be truly honest and real with yourselves. But it's also where you can come back to, where you can see how much you've grown and overcome and accomplished. And over time, you'll be able to come back to these exercises and maybe tweak them, or write with gratitude now how much you've grown since you carried out these exercises. I'd love to hear about how you're feeling about the current stresses or challenges you may be facing, and what you are achieving as you exit your own fear spiral by doing these exercises. How is your body feeling as you exit that fear spiral and it unpauses those things that have been dialed down to deal with your fear response? How are you feeling as your prefrontal cortex starts getting more blood and you're thinking clearer and you are able to make more conscious, clear decisions? How are you feeling? Do you have more energy as your body is better able to process the nutrition that you're getting? Are you getting stronger in gym and in exercise because your body is actually delivering blood to those areas that you wanted instead of dealing with stress and fear? I'd love to hear more about how that's going for you. And if there are any elements in this video that you would like me to elaborate on further or share about, let me know in the comments below. Sending love and light your way as you take your fears and worries head on. I hope you're able to scale them back with your active journaling and the action plans that you develop for yourselves. I'm really keen on hearing more. Bye.